And you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. How do you preach the gospel to an atheist? Who's an atheist? A person who disbelieves or lacks belief in the existence of God. Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, "He that comes to God must believe that He is." You cannot come to God without believing. Preaching the gospel to someone who disbelieves the existence of God could seem daunting. I recently encountered an atheist. This guy prides himself in the fact that no one has been able to prove the existence of God to him. As a matter of fact, he loves to argue. And so if you try to convince him, he joyously will counter whatever you say with some scientific evidence. But in my situation, I told him boldly, to his surprise, I said, "I will prove to you that God exists." He smiled and welcomed me gladly to proceed with my argument. I told him, I said, "Can you define the word love?" He said, "Love means to provide for his children and protect them." I then said, "The problem with that definition is that there's some woman out there that is married to a wealthy man who is adequately provided for and protected but doesn't feel loved. How can you explain that?" I tried to show him that love cannot be easily defined because God Himself is love, and that God is bigger than our logic and reasoning. The Lord led me to ask him if he was married. Coming to find out that he had been through a bad divorce. The same way his divorce left him with a bad impression about women in general, there was something about his childhood that caused him to rebel and to become an atheist. I said, "You were not born to be an atheist." He disagreed. Then he said, "Okay, I have a final question for you." He said, "Can your God make a leg grow back that has been cut off?" I boldly said to him, "Yes." He laughed and said I was crazy. At the time, I didn't remember to tell him about the Jeffreys from England, who through their ministry, body parts were made to grow back to normal. But I eventually shook hands with him, and I called him by the name to reflect how God sees him. I said, "You are a great man, because I believe that someday he would accept Christ, and the greatness in him would manifest." Matthew 11 verse 5 says, "The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." But I say, to the atheist, the love of God must be preached. God bless you.